logging in from India. As you know, we had a long discussion over India-Brazil cooperation in the sector of MSMEs. You know, this is a sector which has been identified as one of the promising sector for increasing bilateral trade and economic relation between India and Brazil. Keeping in view the prospects in this sector, the embassy has been actively working with the government agencies on Indian side and the Brazilian side to cooperate in this sector. In this series, we had a meeting on last month, 3rd of March, and the meeting was really fruitful. And in follow up that meeting, we are holding this meeting today. So let me introduce the people who have logged in from the Indian side. First of all, I would like to introduce Mrs. Alka Arora, Joint Secretary, International Cooperation from Ministry of MSMEs. Madam, if you could wave your hand so that people would know your name and by face together. Yeah, Mrs. Alka Arora.
Good morning.
And then
good morning.
Yeah, then we have Mr. Bhaskar Kalra. He is Under Secretary in charge of international cooperation in the Ministry of MSMEs.
Good morning, all of you.
Then next is Mr. Sanjeev Chawla. He is the Director in the Office of Deputy Commissioner in the Ministry of MSMEs. Then Mr. Chawla, can you just... Yes, Mr. Chawla is there. Then we have Mr. Sandeep, Mr. A.K. Tamaria, Deputy Director Policy, Office of Deputy Commissioner, MSMEs.
Good morning,
Mr.
sir.
Tamaria.
Yeah,
good morning,
sir.
Then then we have Mr. Sandeep Verma. He is CEO in the Deputy Commissioner of MSMEs. Mr. Sandeep.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Then we have Mr. Sunil Tyagi, General Manager, National Small Industries
Corporation
Development Corporation Limited. Yeah, with which we had a MOU with Brazil earlier.
Yes. Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. Then Mr. M. Kumar Raja, Secretary Choir Board. Good morning.
Good morning.
Then Mr. M. Krishna, Director. Mr. M. Krishna, Director Marketing Choir Board. Mr. Krishna. Maybe he's logged in. Okay. Then Mr. Vinod Kumar, he is the President of India SME Forum.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Then Mr. K. Nand Kumar, he is representative from the Confederation of Indian Industries.
Good morning.
Good morning. And myself, Anand Prakash, Second Secretary Commerce, Embassy of India, Brasilia. And with this, I would pass on the floor to Mrs. Alka Arora, the leader of the Indian delegation, for her address. Over to you, Mrs. Arora.
Thank you, Anand. A very good morning to everybody who's participating from the Brazilian side, and a good evening to all my colleagues from the ministry and the other organizations and associations who have joined us today. In these difficult times, thank you all. The spirit is to keep going, and as we were discussing just 5-10 minutes before, that try to maintain and be as positive as we can be in these difficult times. So I am actually taking place. Today's meeting had to be Mercy Pao, who's my director in the ministry. She's down with COVID, and that is how I'm here. The last meeting which we had, as Anand mentioned, on 3rd of March, it was a very fruitful meeting, and we look forward to a long association, and that is how both the sides are here today to work out the roadmap for the future. So I'm actually very glad that, we are having this second round of the virtual meeting, which is between our Ministry of MSME and the Brazilian Micro and Small Business Service. I acknowledge and applaud the effort which has been put in by both the sides, and especially Anand, who has been, really working hard with us, and this time he's got all the presentations also translated into Portuguese and English, both sides, so that all of us remain updated while we are looking at the presentation. Thank you, Anand, for this. It is really gratifying to know that both the sides, have been working hard over this past 1.5 months, and that is how today we are looking at, these sectors where we can do collaboration and take this road forward. The integration of the MSMEs in the global supply chain and sharing the information on the policies and the programs for promotion development of MSMEs in both the countries are some of the areas where we are having discussions, and we are having the sector experts who will be presenting through some presentations. Mr. Bhaskar Kalra from our ministry and Mr. Sanjeev Chawla will also be making a presentation on the schemes which are being looked after by the ministry and how we are working in the field through these schemes at the central level and also with the states in our country. We have Mr. Vinod Kumar from the SME Forum and CII and COIR with us, who will be talking about the global, how to take forward the global supply chain. And we also have Mr. Verma from the CGTMSC, who will be also talking about the other role which the ministry has been playing with their help at how to support the MSMEs. So my idea is that, after this meeting that since Mr. Tyagi also mentioned, and we all discussed this in the previous meeting, that we did have a MOU, NSIC did have a MOU with SEBRAE, and if we can take this forward and how to have the B2B meetings, during the pandemic, we could start with the virtual meetings. We could, after this meeting, the sectors which we have looked into, and if you agree to them, we start doing our rounds of B2B meetings. And basically, the idea is that we should just not stop at just having meetings, but get into the real sector and take things forward. And I would again like to thank the Brazilian side for organizing this meeting, and the Embassy of India in Brazil for making it happen and having all of us together here. So without wasting much more time, I would hand it over to Anand to take the meeting forward. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. Now it's time for my friend, Mr. Mauricio, for his welcome address. He is the leader of the Brazilian delegation in the meeting. Over to you, my friend Mauricio.
Okay, thank you, Anand. Thank you for the kind words, Alka. And welcome, everyone. Good evening, good morning. And it's very nice to have you all here again for this second meeting. So we had a great discussion in the first meeting, as Alka mentioned. And I believe now with the more technical teams that we have here today, we can go further in the discussions of the agenda points that we put together for this meeting today, and to understand better how to integrate the initiatives between SMEs from both countries. On my side, Alka, I already would like to say that our institute, IBREI, we do have like a platform that we can use for these B2B meetings if that's necessary. So I put the institute at your disposal for this. And I would like to present now the members of the Brazilian delegation that's present here in this meeting. So we had a problem with the representative from the secretary that we will not be able to connect today, Liliane. So she's not here with us. Then we have José Batista Neto, which is he's from SEBRAE Nacional. He will be representing the sectorial and territorial development. So say hi, José. But yeah, José Neto is there. Okay. And then we have from customer service, Jorge Herrera Fontes. I believe he's connected also. Jorge Herrera is there also. I cannot see him, but he's okay. There he is. Okay. Hi, Jorge. We also have, I believe that Beatriz Guzmão is not connected. Okay. So from the public policies in Sebrae Nacional, we have Silas Santiago. I saw, okay, there he is. Hi, Silas. Thank you for participating.
Good evening.
There's someone else connecting. Okay, sorry. We also have André Ligorio, who is going to be talking about the LEADER program from Sebrae Nacional. Hi, André.
Hello, everyone.
And we also have Bruna Rodrigues, who's going to be talking about the supply chain. She's also from Sebrae Nacional. Hello, Bruna.
Good morning. How are you? Good evening.
Okay. Ah, no, I saw that you have two connections. Okay.
By the phone and computer.
Yeah,
Just
okay, no problem.
Just to check.
Without any delongings, I would like to move forward to the agenda points. So I believe, Anand, we could start with already with the agenda point 1. Should I move forward to this, or you want to say something before?
No, like who will be speaking from your side on the agenda point number 1?
From our side, agenda point 1 is regarding public policies. So Bruna Rodrigues will be speaking, and from the Indian side,
Madam Aroda, like, could you please tell me who will be speaking for agenda point number 1?
Vinod Kumar.
I think, yeah, Mr. Vinod Kumar from SME Forum is speaking on that.
Okay, great. Mr. Mauricio, let's go
no,
ahead.
it's not public policy. So sorry, I mistake. It's about
chain.
integration in the supply
Yeah.
chain. Yeah, sorry.
Supply chain.
That's why
Yeah,
you
sorry.
got me confused, you know.
Yeah, sorry.
We didn't have public policy.
My mistake.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's okay. It's okay.
So on the supply chain from Indian side, who will be speaking?
Mr. Prakash, I will be speaking. My name is Vinod Kumar. I head India SME Forum. So would you like me to start speaking on the issue, or is there somebody from the Brazilian side who's also going to talk before me?
Yeah, you and Bruno are going to speak, so you can start, Vinod.
Well, that's so. Bruna, I mean, would you like to start about what you guys are doing as far as global supply chains integration for MSMEs is concerned, or would you like me to start and then you can take it forward?
No, for sure. May I share with you my PowerPoint presentation? Just a minute.
Okay, it's allowed to everyone for everyone to share. Okay.
Do you know?
Oh,
Yeah.
there it is. Okay.
Okay. Just into presentation mode. Is everything okay?
Yep.
You guys, okay. So good morning, good evening. My name is Bruna Rodrigues. I work at Sebrae headquarters in Brasilia in the competitiveness department. Most specifically, we establish cooperative relationship with large and medium-sized companies from opportunities and market demands. So you might be wondering, why does Sebrae deal with large and medium-sized companies if the goal of Sebrae is to strengthen small businesses? So through those cooperative relationships with large and medium-sized companies, we seek to expand the relationship with Sebrae's large contributors, since, as you might know, they are the ones who finance Sebrae through mandatory contributions. In other words, part of the resources collected by the Brazilian government from medium and large companies is directed to the development of small businesses' competitiveness. So this contributes to a fairer and more solidary economy. We also seek to increase the value delivered to small businesses inserted and with potential insertion in the value chain of large companies in terms of competitiveness, sustainability, and innovation. Finally, we seek to establish strategic partnerships that allow the sum of skills, greater relationship with small businesses, access to markets, and optimization of SEBRAE investments. Resuming all relationships with large and medium-sized companies aims to benefit small businesses. Today, I will talk specifically about our business linkage program. It's a program that deals with the whole value chain. It was launched, the program was launched in 2013, but we have this kind of partnership with large companies since 1994. We understand that all businesses part of a value chain need to be more competitive. The average productivity will define the value chain competitiveness internationally. SEBRAE's strategy includes fostering business linkage between large and small businesses to increase small businesses' productivity and competitiveness and insert them sustainably in the value chain of national and transnational large businesses. For SEBRAE, business linkage are long-term, mutually attractive cooperative relationship between large and small businesses. The purpose is to adapt small businesses to the frame of the large ones and facilitate negotiation among them. In addition, we aim to improve competitiveness of small businesses, large business, and the value chain at its fullest. The business linkage program focuses on differentiation, increased performance, and competitive insertion of small businesses in the value chain of the large ones. As you know, small business can be product suppliers, service providers, distributors, consumers, and product and service technical support providers of large businesses, as well as technological solution providers for medium and large businesses value chain. So that's why our program has a strategic relevance. The cycle of the business linkage program lasts at minimum 18 to 24 months. And it begins with the articulation between SEBRAE and the big company. It includes the identification of the gaps of the large company value chain, market requirements of the large company that the small company needs to accomplish. Then we establish the partnership between SEBRAE and the large company. The relationship between big company and SEBRAE is a cooperation relationship. It's not a hiring relationship. So we engage national and local coordinations. We define roles and responsibilities. Then we mobilize small companies that are already part of the large company value chain or small companies that have the potential to insert themselves in the value chain of the large company. We apply an initial business diagnosis. So we have the definition of the company maturity degree, the degree of competitiveness, innovation, and sustainability within the global chain. As you can see, the pillars of our program are competitiveness, innovation, and sustainability. So we define the business work plans, the qualification needs, which management indicators of process and product service that need to be improved by the small businesses. We conduct a series of SEBRAE consultancies and trainings. The project usually offers a grid of solutions that help transform the reality of small businesses in the short, medium, and long term. And then we measure the results. As a result, until nowadays, there are more than 8,000 small companies participating, Brazilian small companies participating in SEBRAE's business linkage program. And there are about 300 large companies in various sectors, such as food and beverage, agribusiness, aviation, construction, health, hygiene and cosmetics, energy, fashion, among others throughout Brazil. A total of more than $1 billion in business generation. And therefore, the competitiveness of small businesses, the productivity, quality of the products and services, and profitability are increased, as you can see. And I can share with you this presentation after our meeting. This is a win-win relationship. We can also see benefits for large companies. For example, just a minute. For example, the increased number of companies in the supplier register contributes to better results of acquisition of goods and services of the large company. We can see significant improvement in relationship with big companies' communities. The possibility of technological demands being developed and available in the market by small businesses is also a benefit for the large company. Moreover, in general, the number of phone calls to suppliers for troubleshooting has decreased in 50%. As I said, we have more than 300 large companies, Brazilian large companies in our program, but I will present to you more specifically 2 business linkages program success cases. It is important to highlight that a project is only successful with the effective participation of the small company and the engagement of the big company representatives. That's really important. As I said, it's not a hiring relationship, it's a cooperative relationship. You might know GE Aviation is a world-leading provider of jet components and general aviation aircraft. In our project, the goal was to improve some market requirements by GE Aviation suppliers. The local supplier companies needed to meet certain market requirements. Thus, the large company could expand into international markets. As a result, local small businesses became GE Aviation providers in the US and Asia. And GE Aviation was able to buy more than $2 million US dollars from local suppliers instead of importing the product and service that they needed. This is a really good success case that we like to share. Other one is our project with Renner. Renner is the largest fashion retailer in Brazil in sales. The goal was to reduce by 10% the disapproval of parts produced by suppliers in 12 months. Through business linkage program, we had a reduction of 42% of disapprovals of parts produced by suppliers. We also had a productivity increase in 23% and a collection-led time production reduction in 11% from 7 days to 6 days. Here we can see Renner's executive testimonial. I'll read to you. We will continue to make 70% of our production in Brazil. And this 70% production of Brazil has to have an international competitiveness standard. It is necessary to improve the value chain as a whole, and the program with SEBRAE has taken considerable steps in this direction. That's a really good news to hear here in SEBRAE. Hope this short presentation of our program that has, it was launched in 2013, but we have this strategy with large companies since 1994. I hope this short presentation has given to all of you valued information about our business linkage program. It was an honor to be here with you. In case of any doubts, please let me know.
Excellent, Bruno. This is an amazing tool that you guys have created. And in terms of numbers, I presume, you see, when you come to Brazil, we're talking about somewhere around 6 million SMEs in all? Or is that number incorrect?
I'm sorry, could you repeat, please, the number?
Is it 6 million SMEs that you have in Brazil?
No, I think it is about 12 million.
12 million.
Mauricio or Silas can help me with this.
What sort of numbers are using your program, in terms of the Linkage's program today?
80,000 Brazilian small companies.
SEBRI, website mentions 8.5 million small businesses, which is 99% of the total Brazilian business.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a site SEBRI mentions.
Yes. So, my figure's a little old, sorry for that. So, what I was talking about, our approach is way different, a little bit different, I would say. We don't work with directly with large companies, though what we do is we work with clusters. So let me give you a very simple example. So way back in 1990 in South India, there's a very small town called Tirupur. That small town, when it got together as a place, it's near another industrial town called Coimbatore. And that started way back in 1990 as a group of people that were basically making knit garments, knitwear. That we call. So, and they were doing around, I think it was 90 units when they started, and they were into various things. And what the Indian government did at that point in time, and this was in 1990. So from 1990 to now, I'll tell you what has happened. Well, that place was identified as a probable cluster, which could work primarily for all types of garments and knitwear primarily. So within the last 3 decades, what has happened is from a domestic turnover of around $2 million in around that time, we are today at a $3.4 billion export, and just export. There's no domestic sales will be separate from this. Now, how has this approach worked? So we had one garment importer from Italy, from a company called Verona. They came to India, wanted to buy T-shirts. So they were told, okay, there are various places that you can go to, but you can also visit Tirupur. So he went to Tirupur and he felt that there could be possibility of working together with more people. And the fact was that you had everything. You have a knitting unit, a dyeing unit, a bleaching unit, a fabric printing unit, maybe an embroidery unit, compacting unit, all other ancillary units at the same place. So our approach has been the cluster approach, where the buyer was able to find everything required at the same place. So with this one company, which was Verona, which came back way back to Tirupur, from there now, what you have is Nike, Carter & Buck, Adidas, GAP, Tommy Hilfiger, Van Heusen, Fila, Arrow. All of these guys are actually sourcing most of their material from Tirupur, which is knitwear. And you have leading chain stores, like, for example, a CNA or a Walmart or a Target, Sears, Mother's Care, H&M. They're all sourcing from Tirupur. Now, how is this approach been? So our approach is we work with a cluster, and we help them gain all the things, including in the form of, let us say, a common facility center, technological ingress, quality, intellectual property support. So it's a 360-degree program that primarily works with all of these people to be able to get all of them onto the bandwagon, not just 1, 2, or 3 people. Now that we call it little more democratic, pushover of resources. Obviously, yes, because we have, the last figures that I know, the last census that we have, we're talking about 63 million SMEs officially, and off the record, I think we could be talking about 120 million. So the large numbers that we have, that is why this approach has been put into place. Now, Tirupur, for example, is only one such thing. I can give you a very simple example that all of you might be able to relate with. Do you have a pizza normally, Bruna? Do you like a pizza?
Yes, I can say in Brazil, people love pizza, and there are so many, varieties of pizza. Pizza is popular here. It is one of the main food for outing at least.
So is Domino's there in Brazil?
Yeah, there is.
There is. Okay, cool. So, way back in 1998, Domino's wanted to come to India, and we said, Indians are not going to like pizza. There might be a few people in metros who will sort of take it, and they said, okay, but still we'd like to come to India. And they started with, 1 or 2 units. But the primary thing was that they wanted to source material. Now, what is the sort of material that they wanted to source? You see, when we talk about global value chains, what happens? When you look at, a large company, they have various, you have six primary ways that you want to actually, when you consider a business. So you conceptualize or design a product, you source the raw materials for it, the intermediate inputs, you produce the product, then you market it, distribute it, and offer the after-sales support. So there are 6 elements. Now, why do people even need to look at value chains which are beyond their own territory? The mechanism is simple. When you have a producer-driven or I would say buyer-driven role. So buyer-driven is when you have the buyer locally, so the guy does not have a choice. Even if he's from Brazil, he has to source locally. Similarly, when you have a global company that is producer-driven, they want to produce source raw material. They want to see where they can find ease of manufacturing, labor-intensive units wherever they are. Very simple example, IKEA, the Swedish chain. Now, if you look at IKEA, wherever they go, they set up these sourcing operations, but the quality, the design and tech specs are all theirs. So even in India, for example, now you have IKEA working with over 1,100 enterprises, and they are getting them to manufacture stuff right here. Now, so I was talking about Domino's. So when they came, so they set up in Mumbai, which is like a large city. We are a coastal city. I'm based in Mumbai. Alka ma'am is based in Delhi. So most of the guys are from Delhi, that side, which is North India, which is the capital. So while they set up these 2 units, what they figured out was, okay, we need to look at how do we do cost optimization. So, let me tell you today what they've done. They get wheat for the pizza base, which is from Punjab, which is an area up north. Then you get cheese from Haryana, which is like next door to Delhi. You get tomatoes from all the way from Bhubaneswar in Orissa, which is like on the eastern coast. You get spices down south from another country, which is close by to us, called Sri Lanka. Or spices and exotic vegetables. And let me tell you, you get baby corn, not from India or from any other country. You get baby corn from Nepal, which is again across the border. And you still get jalapenos from Spain and pepperoni from Australia. But let me tell you today, Domino's has more than 372 outlets in India, in 55 cities. And, that's how that entire establishment has created close to nothing less than 18,000 units, which are working with Domino's today. And so, this is food processing, but that could be another way. But we have much bigger example, right next to our capital, which is Delhi, for example. You had one company from Japan which wanted to come, which was brought to India, which is like Suzuki Motor Corporation. I think all of us know the company. And they came to India. Now, how did they come to India? They came to India, said, I want to manufacture, I want to sell my car here. And when they came in, everything was being imported from all over the world, and especially Japan. And what they did was they started identifying small and medium enterprises that had the potential to become ancillary units that had the potential to absorb technologies which were proprietary. And those were developed by Suzuki's Japanese suppliers. So once that happened, what you have today is, Jai Bharat, Maruti, Mindai Industries, Sona, Koyo, all of Suzuki's suppliers, which are based in the form of joint ventures with Indian companies, and they have a further, supply chain system which has close to 12 to 13,000 units just in Haryana alone. That's one state in India. And from there, we sort of multiplied this to a point where you had a Mercedes-Benz, or you had a BMW, you had a Skoda, you had a Hyundai. All of these guys, when they came in, they already had a vibrant mechanism, a vibrant system in place. And that vibrant system for automotive manufacturers, is today exporting to the whole world. So from one company coming in, the fact is that how many people can you enable, and how can you then get those guys also into global value chains of all the other companies? So that is the experience that we've had when it comes to enabling micro, small, medium enterprises. To begin with this, we had something called small scale industries, which were protected and all that way back. But in 2006, we had this micro, small, medium Enterprise Development Act, which has brought about a sort of a change. With it came two very important components. There was something that was put in place called the National Manufacturing Competitiveness Program. And there was also the Cluster Development Policy at that point in time, with the third thing, which was public procurement, which meant anything the government, whether the state government, the federal government, or the local government, whosoever wants to buy, whatever they buy from people, a certain portion of it needs to be coming from enterprises, micro, small, medium enterprises. So there is a specific reservation for micro, small, medium enterprises. In fact, in terms of our cluster development program, we have Mr. Sanjeev Chawla here. He heads our tool rooms. So I'm sure maybe he can tell you a little bit more about, because it's right up his alley. He can maybe tell you a little bit more about, the cluster development program and how far it has gone. And today, every month, they are adding more and more clusters. So when we talk about clusters, it's not like Austria, which talks about 20 units in a cluster. When we talk about clusters, we talk about 3,000, 8,000, 20,000 units. So because the huge, many bigger numbers. So that is the primary difference. Otherwise, and what you guys have done in the platform, I think it's a great mechanism for holding on to enterprises which are coming from abroad and trying to establish their links with enterprises locally. In fact, the International Cooperation section is continuously looking at the Ministry of MSME, is continuously looking at mechanisms of doing B2Bs, seminars, webinars, meetings, wherever possible, just to interface people from India with enterprises from abroad. And I feel that is going to be, like it has worked for Brazil, it will definitely work for us too. Alka ma'am, maybe Sandeep, Chawla sir would like to add a little bit about the cluster development program.
Sanjeev, you want
Thank
to
you.
add on?
I will speak on my turn, sir. Thank you. I'll speak.
Okay. So he's going to talk in the next session when we're going to talk to you about the cluster development program and the other things that we are doing. So hopefully we'll get a little more insight from them when it comes to that. Alka ma'am, is there anything else?
Yeah, so I just wanted to add on that from the ministry side, as Mr. Vinod mentioned, that the cluster program is one of the main programs, and the ministry is also trying to help the units in participating in the fairs abroad. We are also trying to work on an intelligence system that would provide the knowledge of different countries, what needs to be exported and how and where. So these export facilitation centers are being made across the country, which will provide the knowledge to the young entrepreneur. that what he or she needs to look into, because and also the digital literacy, which the ministry has realized that it's a very important area where we need to look into, because the pandemic has, if it has been financially a strain, digitally it has also taught the MSMEs, which were so wary of climbing the digital platform, that this is the platform where we need to be. And how to take it forward is that they first need to have the digital literacy and work on their products. So we are also working on the packaging and the design of the products, because many of the Indian products, they've been there for years, but somehow the design component has not been looked into. So to become a part of the global value chain, the MSMEs are being told that there are three components which they really need to look into. Is one, the digital part of it, work on their design, the quality and the packaging, and also the knowledge where to take their product to. So I think the next is where Bhaskar and Sanjeev are going to elaborate on what exactly is being done by the ministry through the presentation. So I think we should hear them out. If we have anything to add on, then we'll add on later to that. So Anand, I think Bhaskar can put on the presentation, or you'll be sharing it.
Ma'am, I'll be sharing the presentation.
Yeah, thank you.
Because, okay, I'm putting the presentation on, Mr. Mauricio.
Is it okay, Mauricio?
Yes, okay.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Is it visible to all?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So
Thank you very much, ma'am. With the permission of both the chairs, I'll be starting the presentation. Next slide, please. Overview of the MSME sector in India. MSME sector plays a crucial role in the economic development of any country, and India is no exception to it. And it is a very important sector for the Indian economy as well. And this is very evident from the contribution of this sector to GDP, exports, and employment generation through this sector. As Mr. Vinod Kumar had said, that India has 63 million MSMEs, which are contributing about 30% to our GDP and 45% to India's merchandise exports. And this sector is also giving employment to 110 million people in the country. Next slide, please. This slide is about how in India we classify our MSMEs. We have recently revised the MSME definition in India last year in July. And our new MSME definition is based on two parameters now. First is the investment in the plant and machinery, and second is the turnover. Before 1st July 2020, we used to have only one parameter, that is plant and machinery investment, through which we were categorizing an enterprise as micro, small, or medium enterprise. Though we have added turnover in the new definition, we have kept export turnover outside the purview of this definition, basically to encourage MSMEs to export without fearing for their MSME status. However, we have upgraded the limits in the new definition, and the new composite criteria, we believe that it will definitely create scope for expansion of MSMEs in India. Right now, any enterprise with investment of less than rupees 10 million and turnover of less than 50 million is a micro enterprise. And similarly, a small enterprise in India has investment in plant and machinery of less than rupees 100 million and turnover of less than 500 million rupees. And enterprise is categorized as medium if its investment in plant and machinery is less than rupees 500 million and turnover is less than rupees 2.5 billion. Next slide, please. Well, coming to the setup in the Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, we are based at the National Capital, New Delhi, and have field organizations with which we are working. Our field organizations are headquartered at different places in the country like Mumbai, Hyderabad, Cochin, Varda, etc. And the field organizations under the ministry, I will name them. It's Khadi and Village Industry Commission, the COIR Board, National Small Industries Corporation, Development Commissionerate of MSME. It's an attached office under the ministry which helps in policy making. National Institute for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, we call it NIMSME. Then we have another institute for Mahatma Gandhi Institute for Rural Industrialization, doing R&D in the rural side. And then we have a network of tool rooms and technology centers. We call them as MSME technology centers. Very soon we will be having a network of around 150 technology centers in the country, in almost covering all the states. So these are some of the field organizations which are responsible for implementing various programs and activities of the ministry. Next slide, please. As you can just see on the slide, the footprint of Ministry of MSME. Through these organizations, we are supporting the MSME sector in the areas of skill development, technology enablement. We are providing credit support, marketing, R&D support, and also the cluster formation, which Mr. Vinod Kumar in the earlier session had talked about. Organizations like Khadi and Village Industries Commission and Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Rural Industrializations are promoting entrepreneurship specifically in the rural areas, while other organizations are working in the urban and semi-urban areas of the country. Next slide, please. So now I'll be talking about about some of the policy initiatives which have been taken by the Government of India for promotion of MSME sector. Next slide, please. First is this procurement from MSCs, micro small enterprises, as per public procurement policy. Government of India has notified a public procurement policy to promote the MSME sector in our country. As per this policy, all government departments and the public sector undertakings have to make 25% of their total procurement from MSEs. Within this 25% also, we have kept a reservation for of 3% for the women-owned enterprises. And besides, we have reserved 358 products and services which are to be exclusively purchased from MSMEs only. And this policy also talks about exemption of payment of earnest money deposit in the tenders, and also provides for providing the tender cost to MSMEs free of cost. And to monitor the actual procurement made by the CPSCs or the government departments under this policy, we have created a portal called MSME Sambandh. Sambandh means relation in English. And this portal tracks the procurement made by the government departments and has also information relating to the items being procured by the government departments, the quantity they want to purchase, specifications of the products, last purchase price, etc. Next slide, please. Timely payments to micro and small enterprises. Government of India has taken this issue very seriously, and various measures have been brought out. And one such measure is the Msme Development Act, as per which special penal provisions have been included in this act, wherein if any buyer, if he withholds the payments of MSMEs for more than 45 days, then there are provisions with which it can be penalized. We have also established facilitation councils in all the states of the country where the micro small enterprises can lodge their delayed payment complaints. And the ministry has also launched a dedicated portal called MSME Samadhan, which is being used by the MSMEs for logging their delayed payment complaints. And ministry is trying hard to resolve these issues as soon as possible. Besides, Government of India has also set up an e-platform called TRADES. We call it Trade Receivables Discounting System. This platform facilitates discounting of trade receivables of MSMEs through multiple financiers. In this portal, we are allowing only MSMEs to participate as buyers, and government departments and other private sector units, they are allowed to participate as sellers. And there are a few financiers who are participating in the bidding process. And once the bid is finalized, then MSMEs get their payments. In this way, we are supporting MSMEs to take care of their working capital requirements. Next slide, please. Last year, when the COVID pandemic started in India, at that time, ministry was getting a large number of complaints about the disruptions. And so at that time, Ministry of MSME decided to launch a dedicated portal called Champions to handhold MSMEs caused due to disruptions of COVID pandemic. Through this portal, an attempt was made to reach out to MSMEs and resolve their grievances relating to finance, labor, raw material in a time-bound manner, and also help them in capturing new opportunities. If you remember, last year India was not able to produce the PPE kits, but within a span of few months, India was producing 3 lakh PPE kits a day. And this was the effort of our ministry, through which we could enable the MSME sector to produce PPE kits at such a large scale. Also, we have also onboarded a few banks on this portal so that the complaints relating to the financial issues are taken care of. Next slide, please. Skill development is another area which is important for our ministry. A number of technology centers and other institutions under the ministry are running skill development programs, which are for school dropouts and up to MTech level courses they are offering. Every year, almost 200,000 students pass out from our training programs, and they are absorbed by the industry. However, to bridge the gap between the recruiters and the job seekers, we have developed a e-platform here as well. We call it MSME Sampark, which acts as a meeting place for recruiters as well as training. In this way, we are providing skilled manpower to the sector and also generating employment. Now I'll request Mr. Sanjeev Chawla to take you through the next part of the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Kalaji. A very good morning to Brazilian delegation and good evening to the Indian delegation. So thank you for giving me this opportunity. So I'll run through the slides given to me. Next slide, please. So I'll be talking of developmental schemes of the Ministry of MSME. So this first scheme which I'm going to talk about is Prime Minister's Employment Generation Program. So this is a scheme which is very much suitable for new entrepreneurs. Now there is provision for expansion of existing units also, but basically this is for young generation from rural area, from villages, from cities, from urban areas to put up their plants, new plants, basically with a project cost which ranges from rupees 10 lakh in service sector and 25 lakh in a manufacturing sector. So anybody who is above the age of 18 years can apply for getting this money. So under this scheme, not only loan is facilitated by bank, we also ensure some entrepreneurship training also to the new startups, entrepreneurs, so that they can set up their industry. So in a year, we are able to sanction around 1 lakh, means 1 lakh projects in a year. So that is our flagship scheme for promoting employment generation for the youth in the country. Next slide, please. So this is another important scheme called Credit-Linked Capital Subsidy for Technology Upgradation. You know, when a unit, a small-scale unit wants to invest money, so it's very difficult to find the money. So he has to always take loan. So to promote industry so that they go for technology upgradation, we have identified 51 sectors and technologies in which if any unit wants to buy new machinery for with better energy efficiency, with better technology, with better productivity. So that unit is given some subsidy, which is 15% of the credit amount, and there is a limit of rupees 15 lakh of subsidy. This limit has been kept to provide subsidy to more and more people. So this is quite a popular scheme of the ministry. Next. So again, this is an important scheme of providing collateral-free loans to micro and small enterprises. As we know that micro and small enterprises have very less capital, which is already locked in maybe land or building or machinery. And if the unit wants to get working capital or term loan, so he doesn't, he may not have that kind of collateral required. So this is an arrangement which has been institutionalized with the help of SIDBI, which is a lead bank for small scale development, and Ministry of MSME. So they both have come together. They have formed a trust called CGT MSC. That trust gives the guarantee for the loan, which is availed by micro and small enterprises. So we charge a small guarantee fee from the unit and then facilitate loan without any collateral to the MSC. So the limit is 20 million. The loan up to 20 million can be obtained by micro and small enterprises. So the trust is headquartered at Bombay, and Ministry of MSME and SIDBI contributes to this trust. Next, please. So this is a scheme to support marketing initiatives of MSMEs. So MSMEs want to participate in international exhibitions, fairs, buyer-seller meets, or the associations wants to organize international conferences, etc. So to facilitate, when the unit travels to a place like Brazil and exhibits in fair, apart from airfare, there are expenses related to promotion of the products, and then getting the hiring the stall and all that. So Government of India partially supports the units in for participating in such events. Next, please. This is a digital MSME scheme about which Madam Alka Nangia was speaking. So our MSMEs, they're not able to give too much attention to digital platforms. So these days, the units have to be e-commerce ready. They have to have, proper enterprise resource planning softwares with them so that they can have real-time decisions, they can control the production. And these days, Industry 4.0 readiness is the most important thing for industry, because if you want to increase the productivity, if you want to be on the forefront of global value chains, you have to have Industry 4.0 tools ready with you for enhancing the productivity. So digital, being digital is the first step in becoming Industry 4.0 ready. So we have set up one task force also, which has given recommendations on Industry 4.0, and this digital scheme helps the MSMEs to become digitally aware and to adopt new tools so that they can compete with the world. And this is more so important in the present COVID times also. Next, please. This is a scheme for a regeneration of traditional industries. India basically lives in villages. We have so many artisans spread all across the country who are manufacturing toys, footwear, ready-made garments, and so many artifacts and articles of daily use. So they are spread across the country. So, but they are not able to set up some common facility centers which are required. They are not able to upgrade their skills. They are not able to set up testing centers. So these things are very much required for development of artisanal sector, and they also face problems in packaging, in proper marketing. So this is an initiative where the artisans, the group of artisans are taken together. Detailed project report is prepared based upon their requirements, and then Government of India supports this initiative. So there are two broad categories wherein the groups having up to 500 artisans are given financial assistance, 2.5 crore, 25 million per cluster. And there are major clusters which are more than 500 artisans. So their assistance is a little more. So the basic theme is that these artisans are they are supported in capacity building. They get training on new tools. They standardize their production. They standardize their marketing techniques. They enter into new markets, and then they are able to achieve higher productivity by setting up of some common facility centers, and then some thematic interventions like elevation of poverty, or maybe educating them, or some cross-cutting thematic interventions are also allowed under this scheme. This is again a very important scheme of the ministry. The next, please. Yeah, this is a scheme which was being talked by Shri Vinod Kumarji as well. You know, there are in the micro and small enterprises which are having low capital base or low technology outreach. So they are not able to install some costly machinery. Suppose there is a group of machine fabricators, and they want to have a laser cutting machine which can cut 25 millimeter stainless steel sheet. They will not, individual unit will not be able to buy such kind of machine because it will cost 60-70 million rupees. So now a group can come together, minimum 20 micro and small enterprises. They can join hands. They can set up a new company called SPV, Special Purpose Vehicle, and then they can put up some such kind of machines which will be used by all the members of that cluster. So the total number of units may be much more than 20, but 20 is the minimum number which should participate in SPV. And then Government of India comes forward to support such initiatives. A generous support, a grant of up to 70%, and in special cases up to 90% is also given. State governments have also now started this initiative. Government of Maharashtra has launched a similar scheme. Bihar has launched a similar scheme. Haryana has launched a similar scheme. And this scheme has been followed by so many countries across the world. Basically, the origin of this scheme is the studies done by Michael Porter in Third Italy, where he found that some areas are economically growing faster than others. So he tried to correlate the issues, the factors, and found out that where we have clusters of particular industry, maybe ham industry or footwear industry or apparel garments industry. So there the financial economic growth is much more, and social capital is also better. So that is the basic, that why we are going for clusterization approach. In clusterization approach, because labor is available, labor becomes cheaper, then machinery suppliers are there, because a lot of external factors help in getting higher productivity and competitiveness. So cluster approach has always been supported and approved all across the world. Like in India has now some states are adopting one district one product approach. That is also similar to cluster approach. Then China had component approach, means one village is manufacturing a particular component, and in that way it becomes quite cheaper. So cluster development is a tool which can help us in getting better productivity and better cost competitiveness and better IPR. So that there are so many clusters which have developed naturally in the country, and Government of India is also trying for some induced cluster development also, wherein some focused interventions are done. Like Delhi Mumbai corridor, industrial corridor, which is kind of induced clusterization approach. So efforts are being done to support the industry in groups so that they can develop faster and better. Next, please. This is a scheme called MSME Technology Centers, which is basically these are tool rooms. If I want to say tool room is a basic facility. It's an infrastructure which has all the machine tools and infrastructure to produce molds. Mold is a mother industry for every product. Anything I want to manufacture, first of all, I need a mold or a die or a tooling. So, but private sector does not come very readily for setting up of tool rooms because they do not get repetitive job. They do not get the same job. If they do batch production or mass production, they can recover their expenses. They can have better return on investment. But in tool rooms, we do not get repeated job. So Government of India has right from 1969 onwards established various tool rooms which were necessarily near industrial clusters to support tooling requirement of those industries. So these tool rooms basically provide tooling, then they provide technology also. Like we have some tool rooms which are focused on products. Like one tool room is at Firozabad that focuses on glass manufacturing. There are two technology centers, one at Chennai, one at Agra, who are focusing on footwear manufacturing. And then there are tool rooms in Aurangabad which focuses on automobile components, molds and dies. Then our Bhubaneswar center focuses on aerospace sector component also. So these tool rooms are equipped with latest CNC machines, 3D printing machines, and CMMs and all the most modern machines which can manufacture components up to 5 micron accuracy or more. And these tool rooms are now trying to provide education in the field of Industry 4.0 and other low-cost automation kind of fields and mechatronics as well. So these tool rooms also provide training, which training duration ranges from 15 days to 4 years. They conduct various diploma programs which are of 2 years, 3 years, or even 4-year duration. And some of the tool rooms have tie-ups with universities for MTech programs. Our trainees who are trained, long-term trainings of these institutes get very good placement in industry very readily, and short-term trainees help in skill development of our students and industry workmen. So these tool rooms have helped third world countries also in establishing new tool rooms on turnkey basis and providing training of trainers and then providing training to various industry persons and students, so that they had been doing for various countries as well. Next slide, please. So that's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chawla. With this, we move on to the we move on to the Brazilian delegation who would like to speak on this subject agenda point. Mauricio.
José, tu sabe quem vai falar sobre esse ponto da agenda do lado brasileiro?
Sim.
Qual que é o ponto, Maurício?
Ponto segunda.
Políticas públicas, so it's me.
Pronto.
Public Policy, it's me. Good evening. It's a pleasure to talk to you. My name is Sila Santiago. I'm a manager of the public policy in SEBRAE, the agency, the entity that supports MSCs in Brazil. I will talk about the public policy for MSc in Brazil. I'm sharing my presentation. A moment, please. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. For us in Brazil, the idea is to building a better environment, seeking better conditions for MSCs, taking them from the informal sector to formal sector. The main strategies to promote support MSCs in Brazil start with the legislative and normative aspect. The legal framework in Brazil to support MSCs begins with our federal constitution, which provides for differentiated and favored treatment for MSCs in many areas, such as taxes, labor, the cost of the labor, the tax labor, and the social security. The second step of our legislation framework for MSCs in Brazil is our complementary law number 123, 2006, which works at MSc code in Brazil. This law provides for all aspects involved in MSc, such as criteria of eligibility. In our case, the criteria is only turnover. There isn't another criteria to eligibility for B MSCs in Brazil. Provides about the registration, the taxation, the taxes and contributions in our case, access to markets through public procurements from the government, the three levels of the government, access to bank credits and loan guarantees, access to justice, etc. The third step of the MSc support law is our Economic Freedom Act 2009. This law in Brazil gives value to the entrepreneur's good faith principle. For these principles, the government in three levels accepts its declarations at the time of registration, and being a low-risk activity, the entrepreneur is free to start the enterprise, is free to start the businesses. The state supervisor action can always be carried out at a later time, not in the time of the registration. After the registration, the states can be a control in many areas. Low-risk activities in Brazil represent the majority of businesses, such as the office, retail, trade area, etc. The other step of the national legislation, the framework of our legislation in order to support MSCs, is the regulation of interfederative management committees. These committees are composed of the representatives of the union, the central government, the states, and municipalities, because you have to solve these problems from the MSCs. It's not enough to solve problems only in central government. You have to solve in only levels of the government. These committees regulate, for example, the tax regime for MSCs and the registration process. We put in these committees all the people from the three levels of the government in the same table and make the regulation. When these committees make regulations, these committees speak for the three levels of the government at the same time. It's not necessary a decree from the presidential of the Brazil. The regulation is made from these committees. The second strategy to support MSCs in Brazil is articulation and integration. Of course, information technology, IT, is important, but we believe that our best technology in Brazil is represented by the integrated work done from SEBRAE with the governments of the three levels, central, states, and municipalities, the integration of control entities like health, safety, and environment, and with tax administration. We, in India, congratulations for you because you have a minister of the MSCs. In Brazil, we have only a secretary of MSCs within the Ministry of Economy. So this secretary, there is no capillarity, no coverage from the whole country. So SEBRAE has this role of the articulation of the state level. So entrepreneurs see SEBRAE in Brazil as an entity that defends their needs and advocates for their causes. Thus, the entrepreneurs put SEBRAE at the center of the negotiation process, for example, with the National Congress in order to improve the legislation, with the federal government in order to simplification of the process, the procedures, with the registration entities like commercial registrations, state control entities. So state SEBRAE and the branch of the SEBRAE in the states also have this role of articulation at the state level. SEBRAE Nacional, in National SEBRAE, you have this role in the national process, but in the states, the branches of the SEBRAE have this role of the articulation too. The third strategy in our case is the intensive use of the information technology, IT. All registration, all procedures about the registration, for example, in taxation, taxing, and contributions are done only over the internet. It's impossible to do a registration, to pay taxes, to filling tax returns outside of the internet. All procedures in our case is made by internet. And the data of these procedures about the registration, taxes, are shared online between the federal, state, and municipal governments and between the registration and the state control entities. We have also additional strategies to attract entrepreneurs from the informal sector to the formal sector. In addition to registration, filing, and tax payment facilities, we include benefits for entrepreneurs. For example, employer contributions to Social Security are included in our Msc Tax Regime, and this works as an incentive for job creation. MSCs have a market reserve to sell the government, like in India, and public procurements in 3 levels of government have to allow competitions only from MSCs up to a certain amount, about the $20,000. And small entrepreneurs also have access to credit at official banks with lower interest rates than usual, and the government provides for MSCs a guarantee for these loans too. Let's go talk about our Msc tax regime. In fact, we have one Msc tax regime, but with two steps. The first step is for the individual micro-entrepreneur, called MEI in Brazil, who sells predominantly to the final consumer and who has a very low level of sales annually. In Brazil, the threshold is around 15,000 US dollars of annual sales. We believe that the fight against informality must be direct to these entrepreneurs with low sales levels. In this case, the so-called registration risks is higher here. They have they may have little or no control, little ability to calculate and pay taxes. Therefore, the best option for them, for this kind of the taxpayers, is the fixing the indirect tax regimes, also called lump sum tax. In our case, a monthly lump sum tax. In the Brazilian case, it's a kind of monotribute because it includes a federal contribution and subnational taxes. The second step is called Simples Nacional. National Simples is a turnover tax. The threshold is high. The Mscs can have sales about the 900,000 US dollar plus 900,000 US dollars for exports. At this level of sales, these Mscs, the objective is not to combat informality. If you want to combat informality, to face informality, you have to facing in the low level of sales. But in this case, the objective is simplify procedures for taxpayers, simplify procedures for tax administration, and generate jobs. Here we have some numbers, some figures about our tax regimes for Mscs in Brazil. At May, the first step of the Simples Nacional, the program started in 2009, and today we have about 11.9 million individual micro-entrepreneurs. The remaining Mscs in Simples Nacional are about 5.5 million, and the grand total in Simples Nacional is about 17.5 million, the businesses. These businesses represent about 90% of the companies that present a tax return for the Brazilian tax authorities. In this slide, it's possible to see the monthly average of registration in Brazil, like as an individual micro-entrepreneur. The numbers are increasing year by year. That year, 2021, for example, in the first months, it reached 209,000 new individual micro-entrepreneur every month. Although Brazilians have a business profile, entrepreneurship out of necessity certainly increased during this time of the coronavirus pandemic. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Silas. Thank you very much. Nice presentation. It's time for us to move to the third agenda point. May I, remind all the delegation members that we are running a little bit late, and all the members may have other commitments, after this meeting. So may I request all those who will be speaking next to be little bit brief, without compromising with the essence of the presentation, and to take care of the time. So let's move to the third agenda point, that is identification of potential manufacturing service sector for organizing B2B MSMEs. So,
Anand,
Madam,
we have time till when? We have time till when?
we have time up to, in Indian time we say 11:15, but it's, sorry, 7:45. So we have around 20 more minutes, something like that. 20-25 more minutes, but we have to cover three agenda points. Yeah, 4. So we have already covered 2. So let's move to the third one. Who would like to speak from the Indian side?
I think Mr. Tyagi, you
Yes.
can be brief, and maybe everybody could just try and be in 2 minutes, as Anand just mentioned. So we wrap up this one in the next 10 minutes, because we need to actually present the sectors which we are proposing. So let's
That's
take
perfect.
2 minutes, and if they want to do it from that side, so let's do it fast then.
Yeah,
Sure, ma'am. Can I start?
Without compromising on the essence or the the soul of the presentation you want to make.
Sure. Madam, we are as NHIC are pleased to reconnect with SABRAI and Brazil after a long gap. As you all know that we had an MOU with the SABRAI signed in 2007, and we had organized a lot of business delegations and Tri-Nation Summit with SABRAI, and exchange number of official and business delegations in SME sector. So as an NHIC, our interest would be to reinvigorate these activities with SABRAI. Since there has been a lot of time, I'll just like to slightly briefly inform about NSIC, the National Small Industries Corporation, which was set up in 1955 and is a public sector undertaking under the Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. We support MSMEs, micro, small and medium enterprises within the country through our integrated support services under marketing, technology, finance, and other support services, information services. Like in marketing, we form consortia of the MSMEs and participate in tenders on their behalf with the government tenders or large company tenders. We also register them under single point registration or registration scheme of the government, where we inspect their capacities and certify their capacities, so that it gives confidence in the industry in their capacities. We also assist them in participation in exhibitions and technology fairs under the government schemes. But the major component of our services is providing them a raw material support services, where we aggregate the raw material requirements of MSMEs, and in association with the bulk suppliers, we provide and procure the raw materials and provide it to the MSMEs on concessional rates. So it enhances their competitiveness. We also provide them credit support through the financing of the raw material, providing them financing with having tie-up with the various banks, and arranging finances for their various needs. NSIC also provides technology support in terms of advising them on application of new techniques, material testing facilities, product designing, providing them common facilities support services, and also providing them classroom and practical training for skill upgradation in basic trades, as well as in high-end machines like CNC, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality, through our various technical centers, which specialize in skill development in general engineering, electronics, computer applications, machine tools, and log clusters, etc. One of our major components or service is to incubate unemployed and make them entrepreneurs. We provide them practical training on machines, teach them how to procure, how to produce a product, how to run a machine, how to market their products, and how to set up an enterprise. This has been quite useful, and these projects are very small. They are easy to handle, easy to finance, and easy to set up. So this has been very successful in India as well as in other countries. So these are some of the areas where we'd like to cooperate with the SABRAI to have cooperation in MSME sectors. Other areas is like, of course, we like to renew our MOU with SABRAI for cooperation in MSME sector, and also organize B2B meetings through organization of seminars or webinars in various sectors. Just to give you an idea is like auto component sector. As you know, India is a well-developed auto ancillary industry and testing R&D centers. It has a lot of R&D centers and well-developed auto ancillary units. And with the onset of EV market, electronic vehicle market, which is expected to grow at an annual growth rate of 44%. We expect a lot of business, and it holds a lot of opportunities for cooperation in technology transfers or joint ventures in India, and 100% FDI is allowed in India. Another sector for cooperation where we can organize B2B meetings between Indian and Brazilian enterprises is food processing industry. Food and grocery market in India is the 6th largest in the world, and it constitutes around 65% of total retail market, comprising of grain, sugar, edible oils, dairy products. So this also holds a cooperation opportunities between the enterprises of India and Brazil. And the pharmaceutical sector, as you know, India is the largest producer of vaccine and is also one of the largest producers of medicines, and where SMEs account for almost 35 to 40% of production. So it also holds a lot of opportunities for business cooperation, maybe joint ventures or technology transfers, or maybe business linkages. Another sector we like to propose is leather industry, which is India is the second largest producer of footwear, leather garments, and 100% FDI is also allowed in this. There are a number of sectors where we can have cooperation, like textiles, electronic machines, gem and jewelry, or maybe in the clean tech technologies. But once we identify a few of the sectors and test the success of these sectors, then we can enhance our list. One more thing which I would like to say is, like, NSIC is running a B2B portal, like msmemart.com, which provides marketing opportunities to SMEs on global platform, provides global leads, provides standard informations, franchise opportunities, and the opportunities of selling used machineries. I think Brazilian SMEs can also utilize this this portal to create linkages with the Indian counterparts. So, madam, in short, because the time is short, so I would like to just conclude here, telling about all these opportunities for B2B meetings, and would be very happy to organize B2B meetings in current scenario on virtually, and otherwise as we used to do it, physical B2B meetings. Thank you, ma'am.
From the core board, someone would like to speak?
Yeah, sir. Good afternoon, sir. This is Kumar Raj, Secretary Core Board. I am thanking our chair, our Honorable Joint Secretary, Ma'am Alka, Ma'am, and I draw the attention of Anand Ji, from Indian counterpart, our embassy, as well as Sunil Tyagi Ji, NSIC, and as well as Mr. Vinod Ji for any course correction, if any. Sir, I am going to talk about the business of $430 million US, which we are facilitating from our sector to exports, out of which $100 million are specifically to USA. Why I am saying USA here? Nearly 20-25% of the requirement of Latin American countries, including Brazil, it is getting re-exported from USA to Brazil and other Latin American countries. As far as CAIR concerned, I'm coming to the reason why it is there, and that how to convert into a business also, that I would like to say. Of course, CAIR is nothing but coconut, which is plenty available with the Brazil, plenty available with the Mexico, but still it is untouched, only used for the tender coconut of the many island countries from Brazil. But the technology wise and also production wise, our Indian CAIR, we are ranking #1 technology as well as the production also. Next followed by the Sri Lanka. And two things. One is how to expand the business and help the SMEs in Brazil. Two items we are focusing. One is to expand the business in Latin American countries, including Brazil. Brazil is one of the hub for moving many items, including Chile, including other countries, Guatemala, like many places. The materials are moving from our side to other countries through the hub of our Brazil also. But unfortunately, from here to Brazil, it is applicable to all the sector, not only coir. The 20-feet container from Cochin to Santos or Sao Paulo, it costs $6,850. 40 feet high cube, $7,300, which is comparatively the highest tariff ever in shipment sector. This one point which you have to very keenly I want to address. Along with that, 100% import duty is there for the rubber floor furnishing materials. Floor furnishing like our mat, rubber mats, and 40% duty for molded articles in the rubber, coir, and generally with all coir products not less than 18% duty. That is the one main reason it is going to US and some of the items that is coming re-export. Because when it is handling like this, the storage and other trading facilities which created in the US is limited to the LAC countries, which I am asking the Brazil to come forward to have a hub and to move the material entire Latin American countries as well as to the Guatemala, Mexico, even Mexico, like many places which you can do. It is also a business for SMEs also. And through that, for that purpose, our of course, we are also having signed the MOU with our NSIC, Sunil Tyagiji, along with the food product, coir is also one of the product with you. So any B2B meeting, anything with that, we are jointly with the NSIC, and the NSIC on behalf of ourselves also, NSIC can do all kinds of support to you, roping us inside. That is possible. Second thing, the technology. You are having plenty of coconut cultivation, like Mexico also. But the only very few garden articles which are being manufactured there in Mexico, sorry, in our Brazil, which can we are ready to share any technology through NSIC, and we can build up the MSMEs there so that the hub of production activities like floor furnishing. Coir is not only the mat. One sector is floor furnishing. A lot of erosion control application, including sea erosion, soil erosion, by embankment protection, everything it is being used, and coir is used as a growing media. No need of soil. If you are going to Guatemala, entire greenhouses, it is with the coir pith as a growing media. Huge market, Mexico, everywhere. And so the growing media, and next one is the mattress. There are different type of mattress now. More than 100 plus industries has come. Each industry is having the 100 crore investments in China. They have come up with the coir mattress manufacturing, which is 75% is coir. That means natural material, not the foam and other. Other materials are something ingredients for the mattress. So those type of industries can also be, because coir being a bulky material, if it is going for the transportation to the different destination, the freight charges will be more. But whereas if you are manufacturing there itself, we can help all the technology factor through NSIC and also market factor. And a lot of our entrepreneur and exporters, we are having 1,600 exporters. And they are ready to join with either virtual platform through NSIC or even with the direct delegation also in the business B2B meetings. We would like to come again. And I am placing the request of making the zero tariff for our coir product, and also a hub, or you can say that container charges, etc., to create it, warehouses, which you can think of, so that a hub can be created with the Brazil, Sao Paulo. And for your information, nearly about last 2002 onwards, more than 20 fairs we participated in Brazil, Sao Paulo, and Chile, like many places nearby, all these areas we have participated. And Latin American country market is Also, depending on the Brazil, many reasons. So these are all things to be studied. I think Vinodji and the CII in Mr. Nandakumar is also there. They can contribute very well. And most welcome to our CAIR sector and also for the business. Thank you, Sunilji.
Thank you. Mr. Nandakumar from CII.
Good evening, Mr. Prakash, and good morning to all Brazilian team. Confederation of Indian Industries is the largest and premium industry organization in the country. More than 125 years in the country serving industries in India as well as the world. And it has, I would say, directly members over 8,500, and out of which nearly 70% is MSME, and indirectly through various local associations, more than 300,000 members Indian Confederation of Indian Industry supports. Now, Confederation of Indian Industry also has quite a large number of presence across the globe. So that is also quite good that we can have a business-to-business meetings as well as agreements for cooperation. And Confederation of Indian Industry is one industry association across all sectors, active because more than 120 sectoral councils. So there is no sector where CI is not involved. So in CI can handhold, and on top of that, MSME is also horizontal to every sector. So MSME, in fact, CI has got a very good association with the MSME ministry. Mrs. Alka Kaul knows very well. So I would say that CI can do quite a good role in developing the Indo-Brazilian business development. Now, my other colleagues have spoken various sectors. So because of the time, I will limit myself to, I would say, engineering sector. In the engineering sector, I would say I will leave the heavy engineering because we are speaking of small and medium, so I will do light engineering. In the light engineering, India is well developed. When I say light engineering, whatever the horizontal sectors we have already, whatever the sectors we have spoken, they're all involved in the light engineering, including toys, everything is part of the light engineering. Everywhere, Indian industries are well developed. And one of the areas we have to really, we can certainly do is, most of the previous speakers also, including Alka ma'am, has spoken about the digitization. India has developed quite a good, strong base for Industry 4.0, digitization and digitalization. And in the digitalization, India's role, especially in the new technologies like artificial intelligence or cloud computing or machine learning, anything where India has fully developed, and robotics, where human interfaces cannot be. So this is an area where India can certainly do. There is an engineering company in Brazil. Most of the Brazilian people will know there is a company by name Petrobras, and that is one of the largest engineering company specializing in the oil refining and petrochemical side, like Engineers India in India. And Petrobras has also done quite a lot of projects in India, and Petrobras does quite a lot of projects across the globe. So Indian industries, especially Indian process plant manufacturers, have developed their products to global capacities, global standards, and is in a position to make India as the global manufacturing hub. Because 40 years ago, when a refinery was made in India, it was only 10% was produced in the country. Today, when a refinery is made, 95% of the products are made in India. So any refinery which is paid or petrochemical made, put up everywhere, India can really contribute. Right now, in Nigeria, for a large refinery being put up, nearly $3 billion worth of equipments are moving from India. So India can be the hand-holding for Brazil to take Brazilian engineering industry, light engineering industry across the globe and enhance. In this, not only what we do on the technology area, we'll also have skill development area. CI has got special skill centers across India in developing across the sectors. So I would like to offer CI's services for hand-holding Brazilian and Indian cooperation. There are other sectors. Agriculture is one area because there are a lot of pulses produced in Brazil, and a lot of pulses are also produced in India. But India has got a large consumer market. So what really can do, we can have a government-to-government relationship built up for having the agricultural business developed in the country. And that produced proteins have a large market in Indian consumers also. So there are areas where pharmaceutical is another area. We can certainly, auto sector, they have already spoken. So I would say industry, CI, Confederation of Industry can handhold these coming years, the development of Indian-Brazil Association business. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mauricio, over to you.
Thank you very much. I believe Josanette is going to speak right now, no?
Thank you very much. I do have a presentation, although I'm not sure if I can finish it in remaining 5 minutes, but I'll try, and please feel free to interrupt me if anyway or anyhow I'll blow my time here, okay? So I believe I am sharing. Can you see my presentation?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. So my greetings to our colleagues from Brazil and also from our audience in India. I am José Neto, and I work as a consultant in domestic market area, promoting access to market for our micro and small companies in the state of São Paulo. The operation unit that I represent is concerned with sectorial and territorial development, what we call UDST. On behalf of our colleagues, I will present two structured programs that are part of the projects and the programs in our portfolio. In fact, I will present only one that is more related to the subjects that we just discussed, that we just hear from our colleagues, especially Sanil and Raja. It's Sebrae Trade. Sebrae Trade is our program, and I do it. I present to you on behalf of my colleagues, Angélica Posadas and Maria, that is presenting this in this meeting right now, and will be able to support questions and interests that you might have. Sebrae Trade aims to attend entrepreneurs who are leading their companies with structured management. Their programs is focused on companies that needs to prepare themselves to export one day, and also companies that already export or are prepared to export, but they require follow-up in their management and in their business. The program is based on 4 axes. Events, short programs are first steps internationalization. Programs for other entities, like such as Export São Paulo, PayEx, OPEX, and international missions and trade shows. I'll continue this presentation detailing each one of them. Briefly, I hope. The events can be developed solely by Sebrae or Sebrae with local entities that promotes export activities to micro and small companies. The events can be for the whole state of São Paulo or locally from one or more regional offices. We do have 33 branches in the whole country of São Paulo. Those events have the mission to explain the importance of export, its advantages and opportunities. It is important that the business person understands how it works and identifies if his or her company is ready for the next step. At the end of each event, the participants interested in continuing will fill out a form to be called for projects to learn more about exports and will receive our ODL export course. These are projects that we have content geared towards internationalization. Their projects can be for beginners, for intermediate companies, concerning their maturity in export. Some of the contents includes our international workshop, exports introduction, simulation of the export on Syscomex, which is our system for internationalization, inside management for export. All the projects end with a 2-hour consultancy so the company can understand the next step for the journey, and it needs to work on. At the end of this first journey, the company will be qualified to participate on Sebrae's international mission that has the purpose to open the new horizons, such as new products, technology, and customer experience, of course, and new markets. Sebrae São Paulo SEBRAE São Paulo understands the importance of working in a network to be able to offer the best to the companies interested in conquering new markets in the world. That's why SEBRAE works with Apex Brazil, Fiesp, Invest São Paulo, Connect Americas, IBREI, of course, among others. After the entrepreneur finishes our qualifying projects, they will be offered to continue with programs from our partners. These programs, like PayX and Exporta São Paulo, offer indoor personalized consultancy to help fit the company product to international standards. While that is happening, SEBRAE offers courses that will complement its journey, like SEBRAE Tech, that helps to change the project package, for instance, and also Ali for innovation on their process and products, or digital transformation that offers at a free rate a website or social media for national and international purpose. So this is our program. There is this linkage that takes to more depth information. And thank you for your attention. I would like to say that a hub will be pretty much welcome, and Angelica and Maria could support the initial conversation for that matter. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. That was a really interesting information. Now we move on to the agenda point number 4. Sharing Brazilian experience on the portal for formalization of individual micro enterprises. Can I request my friend Mauricio to introduce the Brazilian delegate who will speak on this agenda point?
It will be Jorge. Jorge, the room is yours.
Okay, thank you, Mauricio. Good morning and good evening to everyone. Thank you for the opportunity. I have a short presentation. I'm just gonna put my screen so you can see it. Okay. Does everyone see the presentation?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So hello, everyone. I'm going to talk to you briefly about the MEI, which is the individual micro entrepreneur, and what it means, how it works here in Brazil. So what is the MEI? It's to put it short, it's the easiest way for someone to have a formalized and registered business in Brazil. It was a category created by the federal government in July 2009. And there are some specifics about it, such as the max gross revenue per year that a MEI can have. It's of approximately $1,500. That is 81,000 reais, which it's about 1.1 million rupees. And that's an average of $1,250 per month that a MEI can have as a revenue. It also, there are some benefits for this category. So the MEI has reduced tax, which he has to pay a monthly fee of approximately $10 to $11. And to register as a MEI, it's very simple and very easy, fast. The person who's interested has to go to the website and do an online registration, which takes about 10 to 15 minutes top. So it's really the easiest way for someone to be formalized. And what are the benefits of being formalized as a MEI, as a business here in Brazil? Mostly social security rights. So a MEI can has the during his contribution time, after a specific number of years of contribution, he has the rights to retire through our social security, and he also has the right for to have a sick leave or maternity leave with having an income during this time. And also some other benefits are of the corporate citizenship that the person acquires by becoming a MEI. So he creates a CNPJ number, which is basically a business identification number. He can also issue invoices and receipts to his customers, or having all these registrations. And he also can achieve get better corporate rates, such as better lines of credit or loans in banks, but by being a business and not being a pessoa física, which we call in Brazil, just a regular person. And not only does the MEI has these benefits, but the economy, the whole economy as well, is benefited by it. So we have a more formalized economy. The government also has a better tax collection, and so everyone benefits. It's a win-win situation. And talking about who is the MEI in Brazil, basics of the people who are made their profile. So we have in 2020 we had over 11.3 million total people registered as MEI in Brazil. That was an increase of roughly 20% compared to 2019. And just in the first trimester of 2021, we had over 670,000 new registrations. And considering that we are still going through difficult times because of the pandemic, those are really impressive numbers. The people are mostly from their 30s to their 50s. Most of them have a high school degree education, up to a high school degree, but we are seeing on the last few years an increase in people that have also an undergraduate degree, and probably because of the pandemic, those numbers are actually a little bit higher. Most of them are concentrated in the southeastern part of Brazil, especially São Paulo, since we are the most populous state in Brazil. They usually work from home. They don't have a physical store or address for their business. Their address is their home address. They're vastly concentrated in the retail and services sectors. And most of them don't have another source of income. So their only source of providing for their own and their families are through their activity as a MEI. And when asked, most of them say that they register because of these benefits, the social security rights, but mostly the corporate citizenship benefits, because and through those benefits and being formalized, most of them say they could improve their revenue, their financial controls, and also their investments. And not only that, but it's an easy way or a step for them to continue their progress as a business and continue growing, so they can become a micro enterprise in the medium or in the medium future. This is the website where they register, just so you can see it. It's pretty simple. They go on the first sector to the left when you see the blue line, so they can be formalized, they can register as a MEI. So basically, this is the MEI. That's how it works. It's an easy way to have a business, and an easier step than with less requirements than being a micro enterprise in Brazil. And here in São Paulo, in Sebrae São Paulo, we have a partnership with the São Paulo state government, which is called Empreenda Rápido. Loosely translated, that means do business fast. And what is Empreenda Rápido? It's a program, a partnership between Sebrae São Paulo and the state government, basically so we can maximize the reach of the MEI for society, and also maximize the benefits of becoming a MEI, make that more approachable and easy for society in general to formalize their business, register their business, and also grow doing their business. So we have a whole 360 approach focused on the client himself. And we have SEBRAE enters with the part of qualification. So we have an entrepreneurial qualification and also technical qualification. So we offer a variety of courses here in São Paulo State, both online, especially during these times of pandemic, and also on site, so they can improve their business management, their entrepreneurial behavior, and also through technical qualification, they can go through a career formation. We have over 160 options of courses such as baking or a hairdresser, things like that. So they can increase their productivity and their innovation through these courses. And not only that, we reinforce the benefits of their business formalization and registration. So we see since the start of the program, which was in 2019, we see an increase in the number of new businesses here in the state of São Paulo. We also have options to offer some benefits in the spectrum of credit, orientated credit, which is we offer better rates through some state banks for them to have a business, to get a loan, to start their business or to improve their business. So they have to do the qualification, and they can get these better rates afterwards. But not only get these lines of credit, but also we orient them on how to use this credit. So it's that's why we call it orientated credit. And also we have some partnerships with some other apps or companies that offer easier access to more markets and more customers. And we also have a pillar in the program which is based on innovation and technology, so we can increase their competitiveness, maximize their results, such as lowering costs, increase their revenue, and also increase the business survival rate in general in the state of São Paulo and Brazil. And this program is aimed at not only unregistered and registered small businesses, but also for people who are interested in starting a business, who have a business idea or want to think about have a business. So we, especially in these times of pandemic, is something that we are really focusing on here in São Paulo, and we are having some really good results to support the society and the economy in general. And that's it. If there's any questions, open, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, Marcia.
Okay, Anand, I believe this agenda point was just for the Brazilian side.
Yes.
We won't have the agenda point number 6 because the subsecretary in the Brazilian side is not present in this meeting. So I believe we could move for the agenda point 5, which is the last one for us to discuss here now.
Yeah,
it is only focused on your side also.
Yeah, this agenda point is only for the Indian side, and I request Mr. Sandeep Verma for his words.
Yeah, hello all. I have a small presentation. This will be controlled by your end, and or I have to share it?
No, you please share it from your side.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you able to see it?
Yeah, please make it on a presentation mode.
Yeah. So I know the paucity of time, so I'll be fast. So this is a presentation on CGTMSE. Basically, if I go to the first slide, the CGTMSE was set up in 2000, as was mentioned by the earlier speakers also. It was a joint venture between the Ministry of Micro and Small Enterprises, Government of India, and SIDBI. SIDBI is the apex financial institution for development, promotion, and financing of MSME sector in the country. So it was a joint venture, and the idea was to facilitate collateral-free lending to the marginalized borrower. Precisely for that, this institution was set up. this is in a nutshell. Some of the highlights are given. This was the first credit guarantee institution of the country, and it was founded, as I told you, in 2000 AD, and it is administered by a board of trustee. We have around 150 plus MLIs through which the credit is given and the guarantee is provided by us. And we run various schemes, and so far around 5 million borrowers have been benefited. And the good thing is that it is quite inclusive. As you can see, the 16% beneficiaries are women. The corpus size is of 75,000 crore. And the idea is to provide up to 2 million, the guarantee for loans up to 20 million, sorry. And total employment generated has been 10 million under the scheme, which has been guaranteed by CGTMSE. See, the primary objective of the scheme was that our central bank, that is the Reserve Bank of India, they have mandated that any loan up to 1 million has to be given without any collateral. Now, as you know, the banking sector, they are generally very wary of providing any loan without any security. So there only our role comes in, and we provide a sovereign guarantee for the loans so that the banks feel comfortable, and they give they provide the loan to such borrowers who are not in a position to provide any collateral. So CGTMSE aims to facilitate collateral and third-party free guarantee, and obviously the aim is to lead to financial inclusion by bringing the marginalized borrower into the banking sector. The benefits to MSME is obviously quite clear, because they are CGTMSE steps into the shoes of the borrower in providing security, and it can support the first generation entrepreneur, and the idea is to encourage the entrepreneurship, and they become a job creator rather than a job seeker. And the benefits to the lending institution also is immense, because it acts as a credit enhancement. Actually, it is a credit enhancement. So the risk profile of the borrowers is improved. The portfolio profile of the lender also is improved. And the additional benefit is that since it is a sovereign guarantee, the required risk weight is not applicable to the lending institution. That helps in their capital adequacy norms. So these are the salient features. The basically up to, as I said, up to 20 million loans are covered. The coverage varies from scheme to scheme. In some of the schemes, the coverage is about 75%. In some cases, it goes up to 85%. And the eligible activity, even the retail trade has been included in that, because that constitutes a very good part of the MSME segment in the country. And the rate of interest to be charged by the borrower is as mandated by RBI. So this also we stipulate, so that the ultimate borrower is not shortchanged. The guarantee process is quite simple. The primary liability or responsibility of providing the loan lies with the lending institution. So entire due diligence, promoters assessment, the credit rating, entire thing has to be done by them. And CGTMSE's role is only to provide guarantee. So we do not step into the shoes of the lending institution. Some of the credit guarantee companies of the world, like the one in Japan and even in the Korea, they do both the things. The one wing of their institution does the appraisal also, and the another wing does the guarantee. Whereas in our case, we only provide the guarantee, and there is a separate arm's length distance between SIDBI and CGTMSE, though we are promoted by SIDBI. So they provide the loans and we provide the guarantee. The entire process is very, very technology driven, and the application, right from applying for the guarantee to the claim process, entire thing is done digitally. So there is no manual intervention. And the claim is paid in two parts. The first, if the account turns into NPA, the 75 and 3/4 of the amount covered is paid immediately, and balance 25% is paid once the recovery process is completed. This precisely is provided for to ensure the moral hazards are not there, so that the lending institution, merely because this guarantee is available, they should not let up on the recovery proceedings. So that's why this condition is given, that 75% immediately you take, and balance 25% you make efforts. If you can recover, it is fine. If you are not able to recover, once the recovery process is over, then the balance 25% also is given. The learning, whatever we have learned, we have used in our schemes to further enhance the reach and coverage of the scheme to various MSME sector. Like I mentioned, the retail trade, this was not originally envisaged. Actually, speaking, it is as per our legal provisions, it is not part of the Msm Act. It has gone out of the Msm Act. Still, it is being provided because it is considered to be a very, very important segment of the economy, where a very small size entrepreneurs are there. Then the partial security scheme also is allowed. The partial security scheme again is a good scheme in a sense that it was realized that many a times the collateral security may be available, but it may not be available to the satisfaction of the lenders. So that also has been allowed. So apart from providing collateral free, we also provide guarantee where the collateral is there, but the collateral is not there to the satisfaction of the borrower. So suppose 75% is missing. I mean, the collateral is only up to 25%. So I can provide guarantee on the remaining 75% of the loan. So that was a positive change that we have done. Then earlier we used to charge the guarantee fee as small percentage of fee is charged. It also varies from 1% to 2%. Earlier it used to be on the sanction amount. But then later on it was found that it disincentivizes the honest payers or those who are making the repayment regularly. It discriminates against that. So now subsequently it was changed and now it is being charged on the outstanding amount. A borrower who is making a regular payment, he needs to pay the amount or he needs to pay the fee only on the outstanding amount. So he is kind of incentivized to remain judicious and diligent about making his payment. And then certain risk management issues also were dealt with, because ultimately we have to look into the aspect that the trust remains sustainable, because providing guarantee is one thing and honoring the guarantee is another thing, because that would be catastrophe if the guarantees are provided. The banks basis this, they provide the loan, and at some point in time, if the trust is not able to honor those guarantee, it would be catastrophe, because all those loans but there won't be any other option to recover the loan. So keeping that in mind, some of the risk management efforts have been taken. One of them is the payout cap, where we stipulate that a certain amount, up to a certain amount only would be paid back initially. And if the amount to be claimed by the lending institution are in excess of that, then it can be shifted to the next financial year, and so on. The show moves on. And depending upon our experience, all new lenders, all new type of lenders which are coming into the market, the small finance banks, the cooperative banks, of course the public sector banks and regional rural banks were already there. But any new entity which is coming up, we just see the financial strength of the lending entity, and then basis that we take them into our fold and provide guarantee provided against the loan given to them. The impact of the guarantee scheme has been substantial. So far, we have been able to reach out to more than 5 million borrowers. And the amount, the coverage of loan, which is less than 1 million, it is about 50% of portfolio. So that substantiates our objective, that we want to help to those borrowers who are really marginalized, small time borrower, because the big borrowers who have the collateral and all, they have many suitors. It is precisely the smaller ones where this kind of activities or this type of institution is required. So there we make our efforts and make our presence felt. And as I mentioned, the trading and the collateral, partial collateral security, this has had a very significant impact on the guarantee scheme as well as on the borrowing landscape, because this has provided a very good opportunity to the lending institution to go ahead and provide loans to these kind of borrowers also. And one of the aim was also to democratize the lending and reduce the regional imbalances, because again, the problem of India, it's such a big country that the lending activities are also generally found to be skewed in some area. So one aim of CGTMSE was to kind of look for the regional balances or reduce regional imbalances rather. And it is heartening to note that if I see the total outstanding, I find that almost, if I see the top 10, so almost 5 of those states are those states which are considered historically considered non-industrialized states. So that goes on to prove that CGTMSE has been able to provide its footprint even in those states, and the borrowers have been benefited. And since this is the guarantee is given by the government-owned institution is sovereign guarantee. So this is a nice way of launching new schemes. So post-pandemic also, many schemes have been launched by the government of India to provide succor to the ailing MSME sector. And each of those schemes are routed through the guarantee scheme, because if you come through the guarantee scheme, obviously it has a multiplier effect, because earlier it used to be like the money or the grant was directly given to the MLIs, but it never used to have the multiplier effect. If it is given through the guarantee scheme, it has the multiplier effect, because those who can genuinely pay back the amount, they pay back. Only those who genuinely fail, only against that the government fund is utilized. So it is a better utilization of fund also, and it leads to a solid multiplier effect. And that is the reason why almost all the schemes of the government of India which has been launched recently, and more particularly in view of the pandemic, all of them are getting routed through the various guarantee schemes of CGTMSE. And we have one more institution also which has come out into 2015. So either it is done through CGTMSE or the other institution which is there. That also is a government of India institution only. So we have precisely 2 institutions which is providing guarantee to credit given to micro and small enterprises. So this is all I have in my presentation. If any query is there, I know we are running short of time, but any query is there, then I can definitely like to reply to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sandeep. Nice presentation. No, I think we drafted the program very ambitiously. Covering 6 points. It's not possible when we are talking in details. It's more technical meeting, and without going into detail, it's not possible to share the know-how and the experience. So next time we will we will take care of that. But for today, I think this was the last agenda point. Now it's a time for question and question and answer. In case the Indian side or the Brazilian side, any of the delegate has any question on the points discussed during the meeting, they can raise their questions, and we'll try to answer from either side. So from Indian side, anybody and has any question on the points discussed by the Brazilian side?
I think, Anand, all of us would like to see the presentations, go through them, carefully, and then maybe we can, send the questions and whatever we have, because I think it's been a very, very heavy session, though a very, very informative session. But I think all of us are just absorbing, because by the time we are absorbing one point, the next one is flowing in. So, but let me congratulate the Brazilian side. Excellent presentations have been there, and there's a lot of questions which are I'm buzzing in my own head, but I still want to read the presentations before I pen them down. So we would need some time, and if anybody else from the team wants to ask anything, most welcome, both sides.
Mauricio, from your side, someone has any question?
Actually, I don't know if Zanet has something different to say, but I actually agree with Auka. I believe there were like very, very important information shared here today. Too much information for us to absorb in one meeting.
Yes.
So I would like to accept this proposition for us to read better about the presentations. We can share the video of the recording of this section also.
Yeah.
And then we can see if we can forward the questions directly to the people engaged in each one of the presentations. Actually, from our side, I would like to say to our Indian friends that all the emails from each one of the guys presenting here are already shared in the document that was circulated within you. So you can reach them directly if you want to have any questions regarding their own presentations. But I'll be happy to help with any contacts here in Brazil also. So I believe this is a good scheme for us to walk through.
Yeah, thank you, Mauricio. You know, it will be my responsibility to share the the PowerPoint presentation, shown by the Indian side to the Brazilian side, and the one which have been shown by the Brazilian side to the Indian side. That will be my next agenda point. And so we don't have not many questions or answers. So we can just think of meeting again and continue this discussion forward, because definitely a lot of churning will happen from the discussion which has happened today, and a lot of things will come out, and that will be discussed in the next agenda point. We will keep in touch with each other, and we will we'll soon decide the next meeting, the agenda points, and what could be discussed. One thing I would like to add from my side, as it was discussed during the last meeting, there was an MOU between the NSIDC, like National Small Scale Industries Development Corporation in India, and the SEBRI. And the Mrs. Alka in the last meeting had expressed desire that we should work on renewing this MOU. I'll request the Brazilian side to ponder upon this point. And second is from our Secretary Choir Board, he put one very pointed request that we should work on the choir which is coming from India. It's coming to Brazil, but coming through a third country. So we should have we should establish some channel so that it's it's directly between India and Brazil. So these are the 2 points we should work on, and when we decide to meet next time. Anything from your side, or I pass it on to Kalraji?
No, and I also believe that we can work further with those propositions of integration of the sectors. We could propose some integration between our countries to schedule like the first B2B meetings between the companies.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so, but this we can work in the background now between
Yes.
all of us, and then we decide how to do it and when to do it. But we'll be happy to move forward with this also.
Yeah, great. So over to Kalraji for the concluding remark.
Thank you, Mr. Anand Prakash. On behalf of Ministry of MSME, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to all speakers for gracing us with their outlook today. I would like to express my sincere thanks and gratitude to Mr. Mauricio, President of IBREI, and all participants from the Brazilian side. I must say it was truly an enriching experience to know about the policies and programs being followed in Brazil for supporting the MSME sector, as well as the efforts they are making for formalization of the micro entrepreneurs and integration of their MSMEs in the global value chain. I would also like to thank His Excellency Mr. Suresh K. Reddy, the Ambassador of India to Brazil, and Mr. Anand Prakash, Second Secretary in the Embassy of India, and his team for providing their continuous support in developing this MSME partnership between India and Brazil. I would also like to express my sincere thanks to Mrs. Alka Arora, Joint Secretary in the Ministry, and all my colleagues from the Indian side for this great meeting today. And with all the discussions we had today, I am pretty sure that a concrete foundation has been laid for cooperation in the MSME sector between the two countries, which shall definitely prove to be helpful in making a comprehensive roadmap for the B2B meetings we are planning in the days to come. And once again, I would thank you all for being a part of this meeting. Thanks again. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you all. Thank you for the great presentations and all the effort.
Yes, yes.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
ma'am.
See you soon.
Thank you.